Today, let's talk about change. And you know that most change efforts will fail, and I'm trying to show you a couple of frameworks that will help you to make your change efforts a little bit more likely not to fail. So the first thing that you need is the ambition to change, or let's say the need. And once you know that you have to change, that there is no chance, either internally or externally driven, you have to develop a vision that will align the people. After having created the vision, and that's an entirely other topic we have to talk about, the next step would be to talk about your self-image or your shared values. And the shared values are something that we will come back later on. Once you have decided on the vision, you have reflected your self-image, then it is important to think about who are you going to work with. So who will be affected by the change you are going to kick off? And this is your target group, the group you are going to work with. Your target group can be individuals, or it can be a group of people, it can be a whole department, whatever you decide it should be. After you have decided the target groups, list them all down. So you have target group 1, target 2, group 2, and target groups however you want to define. The target groups, as I said, can be individuals or it can be groups of people. After you have done that, the next step you need to focus on are so-called fields of action. So what are the areas that you are not good at to reach the vision that you have to improve in a way? And the fields of action can be either very specific and focused on the target groups or on individuals defined at the target group, or they can be overall fields of action to reach the vision. And again, you probably have several fields of action. I recommend not to have more than 8, probably not less than 5. So 5 to 8 is quite a good number. And again, just to show you how it should look like. So these are your fields of action. And obviously for every field of action that you have created for each target group to meet the vision, now you have to discuss what are certain goals, very specific goals, and I'm not going to talk about SMART frameworks and these type of things. So you have to decide on goals that you want to achieve within your field of action. And again, here you will have goal 1 and so forth. For all these goals that you now have defined, you need to develop certain actions in the next step. So what are you actually going to do as an action to reach your goal, to solve the field of action for a certain target group or the overall vision to reach your vision in the end? And here also you define certain actions. And for each action, to decide whether you were successful doing it or not successful, you create KPIs, key performance indicators. And that's basically it. Now you take all the stuff that you have thought about and you create, usually I recommend a very nice large Excel spreadsheet, where you can put in all your target groups, fields of action, goals, action, and KPIs to monitor that. And that will probably look like this. You have the target group plus you have field of action 1, field of action 2, maybe field of action 3. Plus you have goals, 1, 2, 3, whatever you have. Plus you have the actions, maybe some more. and you have the KPIs. And this is what you can track in regular status meetings, regular project team meetings, to track the status, how far are you to reach your vision. And what you usually do in these meetings are three things. First, you start to change things by doing all the actions. Then you check whether you were successful or not, and then you calibrate if necessary. And I already talked about the shared values, and there is one, and about target groups. And there is one framework that I strongly recommend to benchmark against your actions and your fields of action, and that's the 7S framework by McKinsey. And these are the hard S, the so-called hard S, the strategy, very closely related to the vision, the systems, and the structure. Hard S because you can see them, they're very tangible. And then you have the soft S, which are very interesting for me. And here we have the shared values again. And all of them are interconnected. For me, this looks like a wheel, and this is the image that I usually have in mind when I think about that. If one part of the wheel is not perfectly aligned, it's okay. It will be probably not a very fast ride, but you can still drive the car with one thing missing. If two things are missing, if you haven't worked well on two of these areas, the ride will be very, very bumpy, but you still be able to move forward. If the shared values is missing, or if you haven't worked very well on talking about the shared values, which is, by the way, one of the most difficult things to do, then your whole wheel will break and you're not able to move forward. And I can recommend some other videos about roles and role theory. What happens in the staff area, that people will get new roles. And the idea is to support the adaptation. And then finally freeze it. This support of adaptation is very much linked to skills that have to be built, or style that has to be changed. And to be able to do that, skills and especially style, you definitely need an ambition to do that. And with ambition, we're getting back to the need or the ambition to change. So here we are closing the loop a little bit. So if you don't have ambition to close the gaps, to solve the fields of action and to change, forget it. I would suggest leave the company. Then you have to invest. If you don't invest, you will never be able to build up skills or qualification. And if you're not able to invest or not willing to invest, or if you're not able to build qualification or not willing to build qualification, again, think about leaving the company. Because you need all this to finally innovate, or in even better case, invent, hoping for a return on investment and potentially success of the organization. So that's a very easy and very structured framework that helps you to think about different areas. If you are all set in these areas, a way to control the things, to change, check, and calibrate, and hopefully make your change processes more successful in the future.